And we are following breaking news happening right now. Take a look here from Skytrack 7. You can see smoke and flames coming from this large apartment building. We are told people in the area heard an explosion and that there are injuries, possible casualties. Fire crews are, of course, there on the scene. This is all happening at apartments along Lightonsville Road in Silver Spring. We do have crews on the way. We'll bring you more details as we get them.
And that breaking news is coming out of the district today. Right now, 7 News is on the scene of an officer-involved shooting in Northeast. We are working to gather more details, but right now we can tell you that one person was shot by a U.S. Park police officer. It happened this morning around 9:30 in the 300 block of 36th Street. According to MPD, the shooting caused southbound D.C. 295 to be shut down from Nanny Helen Burroughs Avenue to East Capitol Street while police investigated. And right now the highway is back open, but as you can see from these pictures here, it is still a very active scene.
Right now on 7 News, it's day 3 of the NATO summit in the district, and we're finding out what is ahead after a night of emphasis on Ukraine and its war with Russia.
Plus, we're learning new details on the new initiative in Maryland aimed at cracking down on summer crime. Up next, why police say parents need to get involved.
And after days of heat and humidity, we finally begin to feel some relief starting today. Eileen tells us just how long it will last. So One Your Time and new video this morning to share with you as Beyonce fans took cover at her concert in D.C. Social media videos show people seeking shelter as severe weather moved in over FedEx Field. Fans outside the venue were told to go back to their cars for safety. Those inside were told to shelter in the concourse. This lasted for 2 hours. Several people were treated for heat exhaustion. One person went to the hospital. The concert did go on just before 8:30 last night. If you were at the concert, we want to hear from you about what it was like sheltering from the storm. So reach out to us. We're at 7 News DC on all social media platforms.
And of course, our news partners at ABC talked with one concert goer who described what it was like to shelter in place. And we have video in the alert desk that you can really see how people are packed in. Alex Stone says basically they were nervous being in there.
People started passing out and we just kind of looked at each other and we're like, it's not safe. I don't feel good about being here.
Now, a lot of people who were there got on social media. They were asking the whole time for updates. They weren't sure if the concert would even resume, but as you mentioned, Adriana, it did.
7 News was at the scene outside GI Liquors in Morningside, Maryland. Investigators say that the SUV flipped over. It crashed into the side of the building, and you can see how much damage that accident caused. Rescue crews took one person inside the store to the hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. The driver and 2 passengers ran away from the scene. They have not yet been found. Meantime, in Fairfax County, police are looking for a man who is wanted for a series of hit and runs and carjackings. It all started when police say he stole a car from a shopping center on Nutley Street in Fairfax. Police say he then drove to Falls Church, where he hit a pedestrian and several parked cars at the intersection of West, Broad, and Birch Street. We're told no one was seriously hurt. Police say he then got out and carjacked another person in a nearby parking lot. That car was then involved in a hit and run in Arlington County. If you have any idea who this man is, we ask you to please call police.
Well, a lot of the focus yesterday was on Ukraine and the alliance's support after Russia's invasion.
Meantime, the summit has had a huge impact on daily life and businesses in D.C., but many we spoke with say it's just part of life in the nation's capital. Tom Rousey talked with some of them.
This morning, 7 News is pushing for answers on D.C.'s continually rising crime rate after yet another violent weekend. We'll take our questions to the city's interim police chief.
A state of emergency in Alaska's capital. Rushing water washing away 2 houses over the weekend. We've got the latest as other homes are in danger of falling.
And here at home, we are under a severe weather alert for storms heading our way. The First Alert weather team is timing out this afternoon's nasty weather. Thank you. 6:33 your time. We're now our top story this morning. A violent weekend in the district. At least 6 people were killed, several others wounded in 6 separate shootings. Now this comes just 2 weeks after the city council passed an emergency crime bill. This morning, 7 News is going to be pressing D.C. city leaders for answers. Our cameras were in Southeast covering a shooting in Anacostia. They killed 3 people and sent 2 more to the hospital. That's when police cars sped past, responding to gunfire that erupted a few blocks away in Congress Heights. 2 people were shot there. 7 News is on your side. We're taking questions and concerns from the community directly to MPD Acting Chief Pamela Smith.
What do you say to people who say something's just not working?
We need the community to be involved. We need you, if you saw something, we need you to say something. This kind of gun violence is not acceptable in the District of Columbia.
Moving on to another story covering Metro now. Community members want more transparency following a frightening incident at the Largo Town Center station. Metro police say that they arrested the man who sexually assaulted a woman on the train Thursday night. It is the latest in a series of violent crimes happening in and around Metro stations. The victim's parents tell 7 News they want to know how something like this could happen in such a public place.
Like, everybody should feel safe when they're on Metro, if it's the bus or the train, and this attack it could have been prevented. Like, it's no reason why my daughter should have been attacked on the train station, on the train.
In response to the surge in crimes at Metro stations, MPD recently teamed up with Metro Police to increase patrols at 5 locations. Largo Town Center is not one of those stations.
Adriana's out here. She's going to try to play. You tried last hour. Didn't do very well,
No,
I got to
I did
admit.
not.
So she's going to try to redeem herself right now. So go ahead and play. The up arrow is to jump. The down arrow is to slide under. And we're going to see how you do this time.
We are following developing news surrounding former President Donald Trump. In a social media post, Trump says that he will be arrested on Tuesday. This is according to the Associated Press. New York prosecutors are eyeing charges in a case involving hush money paid to women who allege sexual encounters with the former president. Right now, there has been no public announcement of any arrest involving President Trump. Meanwhile, the White House says it will not comment after President Biden's son, Hunter Biden, filed a counter lawsuit. That lawsuit is against the owner of a computer repair shop who Hunter Biden says shared his personal data for political purposes. The laptop in question is at the center of an investigation into Hunter Biden by congressional Republicans. According to a federal lawsuit, several of former President Trump's allies and Republican political aides got access to some of the data. A lawyer for the computer repair shop declined to comment on the countersuit. With the heads up, if you're driving around the district today, several road closures and parking restrictions are in effect for the Rock and Roll running series that is happening right now. Take a look at the runners. You can see there are big crowds out there at the race this year. They've got everything from a 5K to a full marathon. This on your screen right now is the route for today's event in D.C. and Arlington. Many streets are closed around the National Mall and in Northwest D.C. We're told that roads should reopen at 1:30 this afternoon. We have posted a full list of the closures on our website. Just go to WJLA.com. And that's not the only big event that we are covering. The National Cherry Blossom Festival kicks off officially today, and some big crowds are also expected at the Tidal Basin. Right now, the trees are in stage 4. They are on their way to peak bloom, which is expected to happen sometime this coming week. The sun is shining in some places, actually pretty close to the Tidal Basin, so it might not be a bad idea to go out there today.
A little bit windy, and the first of many days you'll see me in the pink tie as we celebrate the first day of the festival, and great weather compared to what we'll have to deal with tomorrow.
Wave that has gripped much of the country over these past several days is to blame for at least 28 deaths, and that includes 6 people here in our area. In Maryland, 4 of the victims were in Prince George's County. That's according to the Maryland health officials. That's compared to 9 in all of 2023. And as Rhiannon Alley reports, it's expected to get worse across the country over the next week. Let's take you back now to Silver Spring and a live look as firefighters are battling this massive and devastating apartment fire there. This, we're told, is happening on Lightonsville Road near Michigan Avenue in the 2400 block of Lightonsville Road. We're told that witnesses there heard an explosion followed by this massive fire. Eventually, it was a 2-alarm fire, and you can see several fire trucks are there on the scene. This is a high-rise apartment building again in Silver Spring. This all unfolded just before our newscast here at 11 o'clock this morning. And Pete Peringer, who is the spokesperson for the Montgomery County Fire and Rescue Services, said that there's a heavy fire on the first and second floors of that building. What I'm looking at on my computer is a picture from people who live in that area, and the entire, it looks like it might be 3-story apartment building is engulfed in flames. And again, you can see here live from Skytrack 7, it looks like we're only seeing the facade of that apartment building there, and the interior seems to have been destroyed. We do have a crew on the way there to the scene, hopefully gathering information for us, but you can see it'll be difficult for them to get anywhere near this and speak to any of the firefighter spokespeople there, as this is an absolutely massive undertaking. But again, if you look there at Skytrack 7, you can see that is only the front portion of that apartment building, and what was inside seems to have fallen. And from this vantage point, all we're seeing is smoke, white smoke, so perhaps the fire is out, but again, a massive apartment fire, and witnesses said that they heard an explosion. It almost looks like 2, maybe 3 portions of that apartment complex is what firefighters are dealing with. We do have Pete Peringer, who again is the spokesperson for Montgomery County Fire Rescue Services, and this is a tweet from him. He basically is saying that multiple injuries and casualties at this residential apartment building. It's a 4-story building. He says heavy conditions and structural collapse, which is again what we're seeing in this Skytrack 7 live video here. That appears to just be the facade of that building. At this point, no word on what might have caused that explosion, but it had to have been something pretty significant for the interior of that 4-story building to have completely collapsed on itself. Seeing few flames there, but mostly white smoke. It looks like this is happening at an apartment building called the Claridge House Apartments, again in the 2400 block of Lightonsville Road near Michigan Avenue. A 2-alarm fire right there, and firefighters still on the scene. We are working to get Pete Peringer on the, correction, not the Claridge House Apartments, Friendly Gardens Apartments off of Lightonsville Road near Michigan Avenue in Silver Spring. And we are working to get Pete Peringer, who again is a spokesperson for Montgomery County Fire and Rescue Services, on the phone to see if he can't give us some more information. But just an absolute massive fire and undertaking of firefighters here as they're on the scene there battling this fire. Our Maryland Bureau Chief, Brad Bell, he is on the phone right now. He is the crew who is headed to this fire. Brad, are you able to get any more information as you're headed that way?
Yeah, just rudimentary information, and I think again, I have not heard what you have said on the air, and forgive me if I'm redundant. We know this is a 4-story apartment building, something like 240 units, multiple casualties, multiple injuries, very heavy fire, showing heavy smoke conditions. I had an opportunity to speak to Montgomery County Council member Tom Hucker. Says he represents that area, and he is on the way there. He's probably arriving in a moment. He says it's an area that where a lot of seniors live, and he has talked to some people in the neighborhood who say they are housing people who somehow managed to get out, and he was told it was an explosion. At this point, I am about 15 minutes away from the scene. We were working on another story elsewhere and getting there as quickly as we possibly can. I don't want to go on and say something that may not prove to be true at this point. So I'm going to get back to digging for information. But at this point, we know this is a 4-story apartment building. Southern Management, very large company in the area that manages apartment complexes, is the property owner. And as we said, multiple casualties, heavy smoke showing from the scene at this point. I'll get back to you.
All right, Brad, thank you for the update there. That's pretty much what we are hearing. However, Brad did have some new information that we hadn't been able to report from the council member there, Tom Hucker, who this is his constituency here, and he's telling Brad that this is a place where a lot of seniors live. And a few people, he said, did get out and are sheltering elsewhere. But from what we're hearing from both Brad and his contacts and from Pete Perringer, who is a spokesperson for Montgomery County Fire and Rescue, there are multiple injuries, multiple casualties here. And when you look here at Skytrack 7 and what firefighters are dealing with in this collapsed structure, it's pretty believable that people would be hurt in this explosion and fire.
Storm severe risk today out towards the plains, Arkansas, Oklahoma, and then here in our area in the mid-Atlantic. Everybody here in the DMV is in that slight risk. That's 2 out of 5 for a chance, again, of hail, downpours, lightning, all of those possible with this system. Even the possibility of a tornado is low, but it is there. So again, what are we watching? Heaviest risk between 10 p.m. and 2 a.m. So again, that overnight on the back half of that system is going to be where the stronger storms are. Damaging winds, hail risk are moderate. Tornado and flash flood risk are low, but they are there. So again, you'll just want to be mindful. Keep your first alert weather at the door. So outdoor planner, I'd say get out now. Take the dog for a walk. Get your morning run in because things are feeling fairly pleasant. It is slightly humid out there, but that humidity is going to increase through the day. By lunch, we're talking about a yellow light. And if you want to take the chances this evening, by all means do so, but it's going to be hot. I'm going to give it a red light. If you're going to be outdoors, you just want the water and make sure you got your SPF, that sunscreen, ready. We had wet weather move through overnight, and that brought some pretty heavy rain for most of the area. So 1 to 2 inches of rain in areas north of the district saw the higher totals, but again, everybody for the most part saw that rain. Right now, we are under flood alert, so Gaithersburg in just north of the district, Wheaton, Bethesda, you are under flood alert. And then to the south, Reston, Tysons, Fairfax, Virginia, just north of 495. That's where we're going to see those flood alerts. Now that rain that was causing these alerts has moved out, so really it's standing water and any ponding on the roadways that we're concerned with this. These should be ending here fairly soon. Morning, clouds, not much out there in the way of rainfall, but up north, that's where we're tracking the storms today. Minneapolis, up towards Minnesota, that's where the severe risk is. And then we are tracking the tropics as well. So this is a spin up just north of the Yucatan Peninsula, the Gulf of Mexico. And this system right here has an 80% chance of development making its way to Mexico. So not going to be an issue for much of the United States, but southern parts of Texas could see rain and flooding from that system. Not going to impact us here in this area. What we're dealing with is the heat. We have a heat advisory for areas north and east of the district. So this is Cumberland, Hagerstown. Most of that area going to be on a heat advisory. That starts at noon, ends around 8 o'clock tonight. So pollen report right now, moderate levels for most what we're seeing. Tree, grass, and mold, all moderate. Weeds coming in at low. So if you are feeling it out there, sniffling, that's going to be why. Looking at radar, though, we have no clouds, no rain, no precipitation in our area. So things are clear.